Don't watch that. Watch this.
Well, what do you mean by this? Oh, well, this is my channel. Welcome to it. And if you guys do really enjoy it, you can go in, you can click the share button. That really, really helps the algorithm. Go to Twitter, Facebook, Blogger. I don't even know what the crap that is. Reddit, all the stuff. So if you do love that, we also have a join button. You go in, you click the little join button. $4.99 a month. You get all the cool, awesome emojis. Now, enjoy the video. You know, there's only so much one person can excuse Disney for, and I think I'm done making excuses. You know what? No, that's not true. That's an absolute lie. I never made excuses for Disney. I've never been a fan of Disney. I've never been a fan of any of their stuff, really. Jonathan Aldridge, £5 super chat. Let's put China on Earth 2.0 from Hitchhiker's Guide film. I don't remember the film. I just remember like the books. But thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Oh, in the books they kind of did do that, didn't they? That's when Arthur Dent came back, right? I kind of remember that. But thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Also, where's my jiggle? I gotta do the jiggle. Jiggle cam. The jiggle cam. Thank you so much. You know, I've never made excuses for Disney. I've never been a fan of Disney, never liked Disney. And there's a lot of reasons why I've never liked Disney. I found them to be very cult-minded when it came to a lot of their their fan conditioning. Fan conditioning is, I guess, the best way to put it, where they've built up this entire fan base of people who will make excuses for them no matter what. And I am not one of those people, especially after this whole Mulan stuff. Now, I did not see Mulan. I did not have any intention of watching this movie, the remake. I don't like their live action remakes anyway, especially when, like I said, I was somebody who didn't like Disney to begin with. I was somebody who always said, oh, they're kind of evil. It seems like they're trying to do too much and trying to take over too much. And this was in 1991, I said this, that they were trying to get into too many people's childhoods to make them like, they were like when McDonald's was marketing everything to little kids in the 80s, or Camel cigarettes, for example, marketing everything to little kids. That's what it really reminded me of, just so that they would have a fan base of people who grow up and are so apologetic for everything they do. I cannot condone a lot of the way they were treating a lot of this movie, a lot of marketing of this movie. They've been fan bashing for years. They've been doing exactly what I've been saying with this cult mentality of, if you don't like it, there is something wrong with you, and you will no longer be welcomed in the cult. That's what it feels like to me. Every time I would see an article saying, oh, you're toxic fan, and this is mostly from Star Wars. This is mostly from the Star Wars stuff, because if you're a Disney fan of the actual Disney stuff, that kind of goes without saying that you're going to like pretty much anything that they put out there, because they have a pretty consistent, oh, if you like Mulan, you're going to like Hercules, you're going to like, what are some of the other ones? I don't even know. Like I said, I was never a Disney fan, as it were. I grew up in the 80s too. That was the other thing. Disney wasn't even that big in the 80s. We had the old movies. Like the only one I remember them marketing was Song of the South. Gee, if that was my only exposure to that, and I knew how that one was supposed to be, even in the 80s as a little kid, I'm like, oh, are we allowed to say, should we be? No. So I was even calling that on the 80s a little bit. So I certainly didn't dip my toe into any Disney much anyway. I think I saw The Little Mermaid when I was a kid, I think. Didn't really have any attachment to it. It just wasn't my thing. I was more of a Mystery Science Theater sort of fan by the time the 90s rolled around anyway. But in the 80s, there weren't that many Disney things. It was Don Bluth stuff. It was Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes. So the people who really, really loved the Disney stuff grew up loving the Disney stuff. And they had, what was it? Little Mermaid, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. They had all these things, film after film after film. By the time Mulan came out, I was 19. Didn't see it. The animated one. So I have no attachment to it. But I know you guys do. And I know you guys were upset with the fact that they removed the songs. I guess the original had songs. They removed the dragon. I guess the original had a dragon. What I am concerned with is who they decided to thank and where they decided to film this. So Mulan backlash grows over filming in this region that I cannot pronounce that is reported to have human rights abuses. Now, I probably can't even show you guys any more of this article. Probably can't show you any more than just this headline here, but let's think back a little. Let's take a little daydream back to some of the stuff we know about World War II and some of the places that they put people who were not really welcome in, let's just say Germany or the other countries that Germany invaded back then. Let's just fill in the blanks ourselves with what type of a place this is. This is a place that has human rights violations, right? They flat out thank this region for letting them film there, for their cooperation. Disney, if you gave one crap about the stuff you preach, every time you call us sexist, racist, any of that stuff, for complaining about how Star Wars is all just a bunch of whammon who go around male bashing all day.
You can't stop me, I'm a Jedi from Jakku.
If you had any bit of self-awareness, you would never do this. You would never do this. You would never bend the knee to a country that does this. Not only that, you made this film just to pander to China. We know that. That's the only reason you decided to do that. And you're releasing it over there. Nobody wanted this, especially the Western audiences. And you know what Chinese audiences want? They don't want Disney movies. They want to see Chinese actors in their thing, or they want to see American actors in the big American blockbusters. They don't want to see a Chinese movie made by an American company. They don't want to see that. You know why? Because it comes off as pandering. It comes off as insulting as somebody trying to feed a French person French toast,
French bread,
French fries,
French fries,
and French dressing as a meal.
French dressing.
If they speak French, right? If they're a French person. That's how insulting that comes off as. That's like saying, "Oh, you're from China. Here's the most stereotypical racist Chinese thing that I can give you." That's what it comes off as. So, you know what, Disney? Not only are you just completely insulting there with what you're doing, screw you, Disney. Seriously, screw you. And I get that you have this fan base who's going to just accept anything you do. But we're coming out of this, and if I can do anything as a consumer advocate, I can wake people up to the fact that Disney has always been conditioning people for years and years and years. They have always been using these same tactics that McDonald's and Camel Cigarettes used to do just to get kids when they're young. Hook them when they're young. Hook the kids while they're young, and then they're going to be your loyal consumer fan base for the rest of their lives, right? Except in the case of Star Wars, where you wanted all these new fans. And, well, that didn't really work out too well for the new fans. Who's seeing this? I'm not seeing this. Not only that, they're charging you $30 on Disney Plus to rent it right now. Right now, on top of your $10 a month subscription fee for something that might disappear if you cancel it. It'll disappear if you cancel it, that's for sure. And whoever wanted to see this, just watch the original. Just watch the original. Sorry for the abrupt costume change. I was in the middle of editing the Mulan video where I was talking exactly about this, where the Chinese audience does not want to see a movie basically from the Americans. We're serving them Chinese food, basically, is what it seems like. And you know how incredibly insulting that is to some of these countries. Seriously, they can do it better themselves, and this just proves it. $20 million, $25 million range after a soft Saturday international box office. Well, not only do people not want to risk the cough to go see another remake that they can just see online if they pay a little bit extra on Disney Plus, they know that they can just wait a few months. They've waited all this time due to unprecedented circumstances to even go and see a movie. I don't think they're going to go and risk it now over a movie that's getting mediocre scores at best. Oh, and what is the Rotten Tomatoes score? Speaking of mediocre, right there, 51% on the old tomato meter, thermometer, and 75% critic score, because of course they do. You know that pretty much every Disney movie is not going to get anything less, because why would they score it differently when everybody's under the influence of, well, we all know, we get it. Fun thing about the Mulan 2020 film, now the Metacritic score here over on IMDb is a little bit different. Let's look at what it says. 61 from Metacritic. Right. You don't have a lot of what people actually liked about the original. And granted, even though it's not for me, as a consumer advocate, people want better. People expect better. So if the critics are saying it's a 75%, but the average moviegoer is going in and saying it's about a 5.4, I would probably say this is mediocre at best, insulting at worst, and is it no wonder that people aren't? Now I don't know if I'm putting this in the middle or at the end, so... Alright, now back to the rest of the video, or the end, depending on where I drop this and splice it.